What if I told you that the version of you the world calls confident is nothing but a ghost shackled by politeness? That the real power, the kind that topples empires and bends men without ever raising a hand, isn't something you acquire. It's something you remember. You didn't need to learn confidence. You were born with dominion. But they dressed it in obedience and taught you to apologize for it. That sharpness you dulled for acceptance, that instinct you buried beneath manners, that wasn't insecurity. It was royalty in chains. They convinced you that being liked was more valuable than being obeyed, that approval was safer than sovereignty, that to belong you must first kneel. But true authority does not beg to be understood. It merely exists, and the world is forced to adjust. Somewhere deep inside you, behind the hesitation and the polished etiquette, there waits a version of you that does not ask, does not flinch, does not explain. A sovereign. But you've silenced him in the name of being nice. Let us speak plainly. Niceness is simply fear dressed in good posture. I will not hand you motivation. I offer instead a weapon, a surgical strike on the architecture of your mental captivity. What I will show you is the very technique leveraged by men who hold nations in their hands and never lose sleep. It's not about raising your voice. It's about lowering the room's certainty. It's not about confidence in the mirror. It's about command in the silence after your entrance. Fortune smiles only on those who declare her irrelevant. That declaration begins now. But let me be honest. Once you taste this form of presence, the kind that doesn't shout, doesn't plead, doesn't justify, you can never go back to being digestible. Dangerous confidence is not an act. It is a return. It is not a tool. It is a throne. When you begin to speak without dilution, move without preamble, breathe as if the air belongs to you, you will frighten the very people who used to feel safe around your submissiveness. And their discomfort is your compass. You've mistaken fear for wisdom. You've called your reluctance maturity. But these are the lies the machine tells you, so you stay useful. Every time you deferred instead of declared, every time you bowed when you should have advanced, you weren't choosing peace. You were choosing bondage. You were taught to be palatable, not powerful. You've been running your empire like a servant dusting his master's throne. You want to know where this disease began? Let us go to the origin, the moment your spirit was first sliced, not by malice, but by order. You were 5, brilliant with natural command. You raised your hand too fast, spoke without waiting, interrupted the ritual. And what did they do? They didn't correct you. They trained you. Wait your turn. Say it quieter. Fold your flame into a form they can grade. That day, you didn't just lose your voice. You filed it away under too much. By 7, they no longer had to correct you. You'd begun to self-police. Praise became a leash. Well behaved, they called you, as if management was nobility. You were no longer rewarded for brilliance, but for obedience. Every gold star was a chain link. Every such a good kid was code for compliant, docile, safe. Congratulations, they said. You are now unremarkable. They didn't just break your will. They made you proud of the ruins. You learned quickly, didn't you? That shrinking brings favor. That rebellion brings exile. So you mastered camouflage. You became the king of fine. You turned your boldness into silence and your instincts into scripts. You watched the loud ones get punished and whispered to yourself, "Not me. I'll be clever. I'll smile at the cage." And so you became invisible on purpose. Tell me, do you remember what it felt like to speak before you considered the consequences? To take space without seeking permission? You buried that self so well, you mistook the coffin for home. High school didn't need to crush you. It merely affirmed the systems you'd already installed. Don't want too much. Don't speak too sharply. Don't move too quickly toward what you want. And the worst part? You began to believe that this was growth, that this numbness was virtue. You confused cowardice with composure, submission with discipline. You became a polished prisoner. But your imprisonment didn't end with school. It metastasized. They called it culture. They fed you the myth of the virtuous man, the hero who sacrifices power for peace, who never raises his voice, who is adored for his goodness. And while you worshiped those fictions, the true rulers wrote your stories. The men who produced those films? They didn't follow the rules they sold you. They invented the cage and placed the key in your hand, knowing full well you'd never use it. Then came the real shackle, the one in your pocket, the machine that trained you to base your worth on numbers you don't control. Social media didn't make you connected. It made you trackable. It turned your self-worth into a stock ticker managed by strangers. Every like, a drip of dopamine for obedience. Every view, a leash disguised as validation. And you, the once dangerous animal, now performs tricks for metrics. You became a domesticated predator, measured, edited, filtered, terrified to speak with force, lest the algorithm disapprove. But power doesn't ask to trend. It walks into the room and owns it without hashtags. And here you are, checking your phone for reassurance, hoping your truth doesn't offend the hive. You've forgotten how to growl, but I haven't. And neither have you. So let's test the prison. Let's feel its walls. Think back to the last time someone stepped on your dignity, your time, your voice, your presence. Perhaps they dumped work on you without notice, interrupted your sentence, treated your boundaries like background noise. And what did you say? Probably something kind, something understanding, maybe even something grateful. And inside your bones screamed. That scream, that was the sovereign self trying to breathe through the gag, and you felt it, didn't you? That sick heat in your chest, that taste of iron in your words. But you swallowed it. You've been swallowing it for years. You're not repressed. You're full of your own swallowed fire, and it's rotting you from the inside out. Let me make this plain. You weren't born to comply. You were trained to. Every time you say no problem when there is one, you're practicing decay. Every time you say just checking in, you're auditioning for irrelevance. And that twitch in your gut every time you do it, that's not anxiety. That's betrayal. Try this. Picture the person who disrespected you last. Now imagine looking them in the eye and saying, "You will not speak to me like that again." What happens to your body in that moment? Does your breath catch? Do your palms sweat? That is not fear. That is programming. That's your inner slave pulling the lever of restraint. But listen deeper. There's something else beneath it. A growl, a storm. Not rage for others, but rage for the parts of yourself you sacrificed to make others comfortable. That anger is sacred. It is the sword they told you to bury. And it's time to draw it. This is the moment. Right now. Take your phone. Write down 3 times this week you said yes when your bones screamed no. Was it the meeting you didn't need? The favor you didn't owe? The silence you didn't want? Pick one. Call it back. Reverse the verdict. I've reconsidered. The answer is no. No apology, no reason, no softness, just sovereignty. Watch the room flinch. That's not disrespect, that's recalibration. And know this, every time you avoid confrontation, you're not saving peace. You're starving your own throne. You're not being noble, you're being tamed. Every swallowed word, every nod you didn't mean, every smile you weaponized against your own instincts fed the beast inside, the one that lives to keep you meek. You've mistaken your chains for charm, but I'm here to strip them from you. Your programming is sophisticated. Your self-destruction, refined. But the enemy isn't out there. It's the voice inside that whispers, be careful, be small, be liked. No more. You've been ruled by a fear that calls itself reason, by an inner bureaucrat dressed in robes of maturity. But power does not negotiate with its fears. It subjugates them, destroys them, replaces them with doctrine. That doctrine begins now. In the second part, I will teach you the mechanics, the voice, the posture, the silence, the strategic withdrawal, the recalibration of the entire theater of human interaction. But first, you must make a promise. From this moment forward, you will not dilute. You will not decorate your no with niceties. You will not ask for permission to exist at full volume. You will remember the truth that was stolen from you. You do not have to be liked. You were born to be followed. And in your bones, you've always known this. There is a war taking place inside you, not with swords, not with fire, but with habits. Rituals of surrender you've performed so often, they've become indistinguishable from your identity. And I tell you this not to inspire, but to ignite. Because only fire can forge something worth fearing. The question is not whether you have power. It is whether you have the stomach to reclaim it from the altar where you've sacrificed it piece by piece for acceptance. Let's now speak of voice, the softest blade in your arsenal. Do not confuse volume with command. A sovereign does not raise his voice to be heard. He slows it to make silence listen. But right now, your words are clothed in apology. Listen closely to how you speak. You insert the word just, as if permission is still required to express a thought. Just wanted to check. Just making sure. Just wondering. These are not statements. They are confessions. You're confessing that your needs are secondary, that your voice is negotiable, that you are still waiting for the world's blessing before you occupy your space. This ends now. From this moment forward, you speak in verdicts, not suggestions. Every phrase begins from decision, not inquiry. Kill the rising inflection that turns declarations into questions. Strip your language of every softener, every sort of, every kind of, every maybe, gone. These are surrender flags sewn into your sentences. And what are you really surrendering? Not information, your status. Understand this. Communication is not about clarity. It is about hierarchy. The world doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what your posture says about who you are. Right now, you are using the grammar of the enslaved. If you wish to be heard like a sovereign, speak like one. Precision is the new armor. Finality is your sword. Do you want to test this? Take any ordinary message you plan to send today. Strip it of apologies. Remove all conditionals. State it like law. Send me the file. The meeting is at 3. That won't work. Then, say nothing. Do not fill the silence. Let it stretch. Because silence, when deliberate, is an executioner. It corners the insecure and exposes the unsure. Most people cannot survive 10 seconds of unbroken silence after a confident statement. Try it. Watch them crumble. Let's shift from voice to body. Your movements are leaking your submission. Every fidget, every darted glance, every hunched shoulder tells the room, I am unsure, I am safe, I am not a threat. Why do you think this matters? Because humans don't obey logic, they obey gravity, presence. And right now, your presence lacks mass. Observe yourself. How do you enter a room? Do you adjust your gait? Do you lower your eyes to gauge the emotional temperature before speaking? That is not social grace. That is energetic groveling. You are apologizing with your atoms. The sovereign does not enter cautiously. He does not scan the room for cues. He is the cue. The room adjusts to him, not the other way around. Begin with a mirror ritual. Stand without motion. Lock eyes with yourself. Not with judgment, but with clarity. Hold that gaze for 90 seconds without looking away, without adjusting your posture, without twitching. Your body will rebel. You will itch. You will want to blink, laugh, cough, anything to break the stillness. Do not give in. That discomfort you feel is the death cry of the submissive self. If you cannot hold your own gaze, how can you expect the world to? Then the nod. You don't even realize you're doing it, nodding like a marionette every time someone speaks, regardless of what they're saying. It's a tick, a physical chant of, yes, I'm agreeable. No more. From now on, stillness. Let them feel the vacuum. The moment you stop nodding, people will shift in their chairs. They'll speak faster, repeat themselves, search your face for feedback you refuse to give. Let them sweat. Your silence is a mirror to their desperation. But the most lethal posture is withdrawal. When you are disrespected, do not explain. Do not plead. Do not counter. Withdraw, not with pout, but with poise. Someone cuts you off mid-sentence? Stop mid-word. Withdraw your gaze, your energy, your attention. Silence is not retreat. It is exile. You exile them from your time. You exile them from your engagement. That vacuum will haunt them far more than your outrage ever could. This isn't passive aggression. It's value correction. And it teaches faster than argument ever will. When people realize your presence can be removed at any moment, they begin to treat it as the privilege it is. You are not oxygen. You are thunder. And thunder does not beg for recognition. Let us talk of breathing. You breathe like prey. Shallow, fast, from the chest. This is panic breathing. This is submissive frequency. Learn to breathe from below the navel, with force, with deliberation. Before you speak, take 3 such breaths. Let your shoulders drop. Let your spine elongate. Now you are not reacting. You are broadcasting. You are no longer an echo chamber. You are a tower. Every breath is a choice. Broadcast calm or hemorrhage anxiety. When you enter a room, fill it with your breathing before your words ever arrive. This isn't relaxation. It's warfare. You are claiming energetic territory. And once you claim it, you do not surrender it back. The room should bend, not you. And now we approach the real battlefield. Conflict. Not its eruption, but its management. The average man believes conflict is a matter of logic, of points won and lost. He thinks rebuttal equals victory. Fools! A sovereign does not engage to win. He engages to rule. The goal is not to crush your enemy in the argument. It is to remove them from the equation altogether. When someone challenges you publicly, do not argue. Reframe. That's one perspective. Allow me to add 2 more. Now you're not defending. You're expanding. Their attack becomes your platform. You haven't answered their question. You've made their question irrelevant. That is dominance. If you must respond directly, do it in silence first. Count 3 breaths. Let your face register amusement, curiosity, nothing. This pause destroys their momentum. Then you choose from your arsenal. Redirect, withdraw, reframe, or say nothing at all. Silence is the sovereign's veto. Do you want to break someone's confidence permanently? Do not respond to their aggression. Treat it like irrelevant weather. That silence will echo in their memory far longer than any clever insult. Power does not bark. Power evaporates oxygen from the room until everyone else is gasping. We must now approach identity itself. What you call you is not a person. It is a playlist, a repeated neurological track reinforced by rituals of defeat. I'm not good at confrontation, you say, and with each utterance, your nervous system obliges. Your body bends to your prophecy. You rehearse your limitations so well, your biology adapts to make them real. But identity is not fixed, it is architecture. And every action you take is either reinforcing the cathedral of your sovereignty or rebuilding the prison of your submission. This is not metaphor. This is mechanics. You are not discovering who you are building who you will become. Or you are rehearsing who they told you to be. Install rituals. Wake and face the mirror not to see how you look, but to declare who you are. 3 identity truths, spoken as facts, not dreams, not wishes, declarations. I am the axis around which the room spins. I do not speak to convince, I speak to end discussion. My silence terrifies the unsure. Say them, believe them, act them, then repeat. Before any interaction, breathe like a monarch. Posture like a commander. Speak like gravity. After every day, review. Where did the sovereign show up? Where did the slave reappear? Adjust. Do not forgive yourself. Forgiveness is leisure. This is war. Let us now draw from the shadows. The parts of you you've buried to survive, the cruelty, the hunger, the fire. You called them sins. They are weapons. That coldness you hide from the world, that is what allows you to make decisions under pressure. That desire to see others fail, that is your capacity to understand hierarchy and competition. These are not flaws. They are unrefined arsenals. Reclaim them, use them, not against the weak, but against the part of you that still kneels. The world is filled with kind people too afraid to be useful. You, however, must be feared not because you are cruel, but because you are capable of it. And choose restraint only when it serves your strategy. This isn't performance. This is transformation. You do not pretend to be sovereign. You live it, one micro-interaction at a time. Stand differently. Speak economically. Move like space owes you rent. Speak only when the sentence is a decree. Let's talk about what happens next. The world will notice. You've changed, they'll say. You're intense. What they mean is, you no longer bend for their comfort. They will try to draw out the old version of you, the agreeable, the meek, the entertaining. Do not resurrect him. He died for your freedom, and you buried him for a reason. Some will leave. Let them. Some will fight. Let them. Their discomfort is not your burden. It is proof that your presence is no longer cheap. Here is the final truth I offer you, unwrapped, unfiltered. You do not have to be loved to lead. You do not have to be popular to be powerful. You only need to radiate a frequency so fixed, so rooted, that others orbit it without knowing why. They adjust. They soften. They follow. Not because you asked, but because you never asked. You are now a sovereign, and sovereignty is not a crown. It is an atmosphere. It walks into the room before you. It shifts conversations. It silences noise. It does not explain. It does not justify. It does not shrink. It simply is. Let the weak continue to polish their smiles. Let the fearful bury their instincts. Let the obedient perfect their sentences. You now move like verdict. You speak like thunder. You breathe like history. You have executed the voice that kept you small. The rest is yours for the taking. Do not hesitate. Sovereigns do not wait. They arrive.